Tony the Unicorn. And I'm here to tell you that f***ing your dreams ain't cheap. In fact, it costs a ton of cash to do. So that's why me and the Oh No Radio Show need your help. Just go to the website displayed below and hit us up with some cash, yo. $1, $5, $1,000,000 if you have it to spare. Any amount is appreciated. Well, I gotta go because these dreams ain't gonna fuck themselves. See ya!
And ladies and gentlemen, welcome to another edition of Oh No Wrestling, episode number 127, if you can believe that. I am your Shark Break Kid, Owen. Hello, and with me tonight, it's my good friend Duncan, the king of bong style. We have no predictions champion. Modern day.
He's taking champion's prerogative.
Yeah. Well, he's touring the belt. It's what he told us. He's touring the belt around.
Yeah, he's in Hogsboro tonight.
Yeah. So,
Stopping by Rusty's Pool Hall.
Find him there. And it's next to the middle school, in between the KFC and the middle school.
That's right. Yeah, right across the street from Malibu Al's.
Yes, exactly. But no, we wish he was here, but things happen, and unfortunately he couldn't be here. Hopefully he can make it next week because there's a big week coming up. But there's
things happening. Yeah.
There's things happening. Speaking of things happening, Duncan, have you heard all the rumors and innuendo going on in the wrestling world?
Look, I didn't want to start off the show with this, but they're all true.
Yes.
I have signed with All Elite Wrestling.
Holy shit! And oh my God, after Peacock, we know Kevin Dunn is with All Elite. You're with All Elite, and man, I just can't get that contract, bro. I can't get it.
No, I'm working on it. I had to get in so that I can get you in.
Yeah, one at a time. Yeah,
exactly. Like we got it. One of us has to hold the door open for the other.
I heard another big rumor this week. I heard that Bo Dallas is very happy in the swamp. That's what I heard.
That's what you heard?
Yeah.
I also heard that. I believe. I mean, if I was banging Liv Morgan, I'd be pretty happy.
There's some other big rumors too. Rumors.
I haven't really heard anything. Maybe you can fill me in. It's been a pretty quiet week in the world of professional wrestling.
Well, they're talking about. I mean, one of the biggest companies in the world now is talking into, maybe bringing in some big names that you might have heard of before.
Oh, okay.
And just so you know,
it's gonna blow
your mind. It's gonna absolutely blow your mind. Another person now coming back, a Hall of Famer coming back to the WWE.
Oh my God.
It's Pete Rose. Everybody.
Thank
coming
God.
back to the WWE.
Thank God. I love Pete Rose.
No, and then something about CM Punk and Daniel Bryan. I don't know. They go. I heard something about
Are we going to spend time talking about jobbers?
Well, I don't think they'll make much of an impact anywhere they go. I don't think Impact would even want to sign them.
I don't think so. It doesn't seem like.
No.
I mean, really, is that going to create any buzz?
And I don't think so.
I don't think so. I don't think anybody's been talking about it at all this week.
No, but it's serious. Okay, switch gears a little.
Okay, I'm sorry, we can't.
I can't do it the whole time. But,
I wish we could
I
though,
wish
because that
I
would be
could.
great.
It would. I just can't keep it up. I'm not that witty.
No,
but what are the?
huge.
Yeah, no, it's absolutely huge. It's absolutely huge, and there couldn't be bigger names, right?
Not bigger free agents.
Not bigger free agents. I guess the only one that would possibly be on that level that's left
Brock.
is Brock.
Yeah.
And
What
here's
if?
here's the thing. Remember how we said how ridiculous it was not too long ago about CM Punk and Daniel Bryan going to AEW. We said it was ridiculous. All of a sudden that looks like it's a very real possibility. And now all of a sudden Brock doesn't seem as ridiculous as it once did. Are you with me on this?
No, I'm 100% with you on this, because I was thinking about it. I'm like, what if it's NWO 2.0 and it's Brock, Bryan, and Punk?
Yep.
That just come in.
I mean, and even if it's not necessarily Brock, if we do get these rumors, and I want to clarify, they are still rumors.
Yes, nothing has been confirmed.
Nothing has been confirmed, and that I know we're all talking about it, but what if we're all wrong? What if like this would be a thing?
Yeah.
Too, that would be the ultimate troll of all time. I can see Punk doing that. I don't know if I can see Daniel Bryan doing that.
No, Punk 100%.
But
because the only things that he's done recently are like show up at that random indie show in Chicago in like all blacked out and then hit somebody with the GTS, you know. So
yeah, not only that, it's the news broke for Daniel Bryan before CM Punk.
Yes.
It was I don't know if it was it same day or within the 24
it was same
hours?
day or like overnight
for sure. So what if, just saying, what if CM Punk saw all the hullabaloo about Daniel Bryan
and like fed his own rumor mill
and then went and fed it, and at that point I just could see him doing something like that. But I don't think that's the case here. The sources are pretty reputable. They're getting more reputable as we're going on.
Yeah, and not only that, but there were the reports of Tony Khan and the EVPs flying to Chicago.
Yep.
From Champaign-Urbana to Chicago, which is like a half an hour flight.
Right.
So, and the rumors for that are that it's either related to them potentially doing a larger show at an arena in Chicago.
Yeah,
like the United Center.
Maybe they want to. I mean, they know this is going to be a big deal.
Yeah.
They're also seeing how the ticket sales are going on for the Arthur Ashe show in New York, and
that's already sold out though.
It's not. They keep releasing tickets.
Oh.
And as of today, it's now at Arthur Ashe's show has now surpassed the ROH New Japan Super Show tickets, sold at 16,783. So
over 16K.
Yep.
Wow.
This will be the biggest show non-WWE in North America since a WCW show, in the 90s, I don't remember exactly the show, but just fun fact, it's set to be that big, and they probably could sell another few thousand.
Dude, that stadium is huge. I think
it's 20 something.
Well,
and that's for a tennis match, so floor seating, you probably get some
seating.
more on there.
Yeah. So I spent 6 weeks riding the train by that thing.
And you said it looked like really cool too, right?
Dude, it's super cool, and it's right. It's in the same park that the World's Fair was in. So like the towers from Men in Black, like those are there.
Oh, they're still. I didn't even know they were still there.
Dude, they're still there, and they're really cool.
That's all. That's neat.
So yeah, like Right, and as soon as they announced that, I'm like, oh, that's fucking huge, and it's WWE territory too. Like they're knocking on their fucking door.
And all the rumors, if you're to believe them, is that's where the proposed Daniel Bryan, thing happens. I mean,
the Daniel Bryan debut happens there, and then
the Punk at
all out, or
yeah. Unless they, I think honestly that is too on the nose, and I think you have to shake that up just a little bit.
Yeah, I mean reverse that. Right?
Like
Daniel.
You either reverse it. Oh shit. Oh,
yeah.
I gotta decline because it wanted me to leave. I have to invite him.
We got this.
Yeah. I am very
the champion.
surprised.
Apparently, his meet and greet at Rusty's Pool Hall has ended early.
Yeah, here we go. What are you doing? Let me get him going here.
Get him going.
All right. Yeah, I'll admit that guy. If Duncan seems a little distracted too, by the way, it's because he's dealing with his dog. He's got a new puppers, and he's dealing with his puppers. Matthew.
Well, yeah. Good brother. Le champion has arrived.
You made it.
Better late than never.
How was your meet and greet at Rusty's Pool Hall?
Taking that belt around the country again, as I typically do.
Yep.
All the way down to Columbus, Ohio. Yeah, Rusty's Pool Hall, great.
We were saying it's right across from Malibu Owls, right?
Yeah, it's right across from Malibu Owls. And Malibu
right
Owls
next to the
there,
cave.
But, it was a good time. It was a good time.
Fair enough.
We actually threw some shit at the cars across the street. Tried to crack some windshields.
Well, we were just on the hottest topic of the day, Matthew, and as you know, it's that Pete Rose going back to WWE. We've been talking, of course, about that. That's the biggest news that is,
There's nothing else going on.
There's nothing else. It's been a slow week, real slow week.
Also, you needed another, type of Legends night.
Yeah,
100%.
I was going to make all this better.
Well, this seems like, in all seriousness, this might be a bit of a Legends night, right? Like this is killer, and we were just discussing how it seems so obvious that you'd almost have Daniel Bryan debut for AEW at Arthur Ashe, and then you'd have like Punk debut at the Chicago All Out show, right? Like that's what we were just saying to bring you up to speed. And I was just thinking that it would be cooler if they didn't do it that way. If it was a little bit more, I don't know, bait and switch, or just gave us a little bit more of a surprise. Duncan suggested that they could reverse it. And I think that still works, because then you sell even more tickets for Chicago because they know he's coming, and they're not going to lose any impact because it's him coming home to Chicago on a show after he's just made his debut the week before, whatever, like, or the time before. But
when Matthew and I were in Chicago for All In, it was legit. Like, dude, the amount of CM Punk shirts there and like just CM Punk marks that were there, like, dude, Chicago will always expect CM Punk at every wrestling show, even if they're just like, he's in the other part of the world.
Of course, yeah. I was just thinking it though just a second ago. Am I getting it backwards? I know that they were announced in maybe different orders. Hang on. So is the Arthur Ashe show before or after All Out?
It's before.
It is before.
If I remember correctly, yeah.
But it's not a pay-per-view, correct? It's is it a house show, or have they said, is it a Dynamite?
I think, aren't they doing a Dynamite?
I think it's a Dynamite.
I'll look it up really quickly, because I was reading an article about this the other day.
And that's an interesting one, too, because I would like to know the period of dates between the Arthur Ashe show and the Chicago show, because if it's too long, it's not like he can keep Punk off of TV. If he were to debut there, he can't keep him off of TV for a long time, and and then it loses its impact a little bit by the time he gets to Chicago. But
yeah,
so I don't know how you do it. Or I've heard that a lot of people think they're going to be debuted in the same night.
Really?
That would be wild.
That would be.
I'm sorry, somebody thinks it's playtime over here.
Someone needs to learn what the fuck is up.
Hey, look. We're trying to do business over here, Jack.
Yeah.
All right. So Arthur Ashe is actually September 22nd. That's a Dynamite. Then you have a Dynamite on the 1st in Chicago. And then you have the 5th, then you have the Rampage on the 3rd, and then you have the AEW All Out.
Okay, that's
on the 5th, and then Arthur Ashe is on the 22nd.
So it's after, you're saying?
It's after, yeah.
Arthur Ashe is after. I thought it was too. So Arthur Ashe is after. So in that case, I mean, you could do it at. You do it at All Out. You don't do it at the Dynamite. You do it at All Out.
No, you do it at All Out. But what I read, which could be a thing, is they could bring Punk back on the Dynamite or the Rampage before All Out, and then he could still be on All Out, and then you could bring Bryan at All Out too, or vice versa. You could do one. Yeah, you just crush ratings, and then that pay-per-view does numbers, and then you do another, one of the other ones coming on also.
But I could also see them maybe holding one of the surprises then for Arthur Ashe, just because it seems like they're really building this as like a big show, I think, and I think it will be because of the New York connection type deal.
Yeah, I could see that, and I guess maybe you don't blow them both at once, all in Chicago at All Out. I think the fans will fucking riot if CM Punk isn't there.
Yeah,
I just
and that's
think
all
they
the more
will.
reason that I think that they might hold it.
All
the more reason that I think that they might not do it, just because they know how huge it'll be. And it's due to, we all expect it. Everybody expects it. And one thing the AEW is really good at is switching up what to expect.
Giving you something without giving you the expected, yeah.
But Punk has a really good fucking poker face. If they didn't want this news to get out, this news wouldn't have gotten out.
No, absolutely not.
Like the people in those meetings and behind they could have kept that very close. Well,
that contradicts kind of what we said before you were on the show a little bit, because I was saying that I can't see a Daniel Bryan doing a crazy sort of troll. I can see CM Punk doing it. Daniel Bryan was announced first. I can see then CM Punk start feeding things to the press because he's CM Punk and ha marks.
True story.
So, I don't know where I stand on that. I mean, but AEW would be saying more if it were that, right? But would they? Because at the end of the day, it's going to get people to tune in. So it's
damn it, we're going to work ourselves into a
I
shoot,
know.
brother.
I already did it. I just did it. I don't know. Oh, look, he's adjusting his lighting. It's fine.
It was getting fucking annoying when I was seeing it.
Yeah,
it's better.
So what? Okay, so theoretically, we've got them both now in the company. What do you do with them? How do we use them? Let's do some fun fantasy booking. And I mean, there's been talks of the two of them even being in a stable together of sorts.
And what I was saying is, what if it's NWO 2.0 and Brock's the third man?
Which fucking A, if they were to pull that off, it would be unreal.
Can you fucking imagine if Lesnar showed up at Arthur Ashe?
He would eat the arena.
That would be the
biggest coup in professional wrestling. Bigger than Bryan, bigger than Punk.
That is the biggest like
It's
dick
the last
wagging
one.
contest that like that is literally like Tony Khan just like, yeah, I'm whipping it all out. Like,
Seriously, it's like I'm gonna lay my dick on the table. It's taller
guess
than
what,
me.
Vince? I also have fuck you money. So
Yeah.
fuck
I have
you.
fuck you money, and I'm not actively trying to bury half my roster.
Yeah.
Anyway, we'll talk about that later.
But
Yes, we
I
will.
don't see Brock doing that. Brock,
No,
I'm
I don't
sure
either.
He's fucking.
But like, just in my head, what's a bigger, dude? Unless, what if Kenny Omega turns on the Elite, and you have Bryan, Punk, and Omega, like the three best wrestlers in the world?
That is definitely, I mean, if you were to do, like, and stay true to a real, like, kind of, like you said, NWO 2.0 type situation, you would want one of the guys to be a guy that turns on,
Company.
on the
Yeah,
company.
you want that Hogan turn, like when he did it on fucking Macho.
Could you do it with Cody?
Ooh, you could. You could absolutely do it with Cody.
You could 100% do it.
I think
Cody
so too.
attacks Omega.
Yeah.
And oh my God, he would have such a boner for this too. Him with, oh my God,
yeah.
This has him written all over it.
Yeah. If there was ever an opportunity to put himself over,
he kayfabe resigns as an EVP.
Mm-hmm.
And
he's already been distanced from the Elite.
And that would actually give him the opportunity, probably in some weird kayfabe fashion, right, to finally challenge again for the world title, because he's taken himself out of that picture. Because if remember he said, I think there was some wording in there that gave him something, as like, it was long as he was a EVP. I might be mistaken, but like
maybe. But what if Malachi Black?
Yeah, let's not forget that too.
What if he well, I mean, you could either have him be the third man, right?
Ooh, that could work. Oh yeah, that could work. And I like it.
It could work. I feel like he can stand on his own right now.
Oh no, he absolutely can, and he should.
But it could do a lot also for him.
But what I think is he just decimates Cody.
Okay.
Right.
Or this, just going crazy here. I guess no, the time frame doesn't really work. But if you were to have it be kind of like assumed, and they even put Cody as the third man in, for Cody to only have been, basically like fucked over by Punk and Daniel Bryan. And it was never him, and it's Malachi Black the whole time with a big turn and switch.
Yeah.
Then that can work, because then you have the arrogance. Now you've tricked Cody into maybe giving up his EVP status or something like that.
Yeah, I like that.
Then you've got him like, basically now he's on his own. Everyone hates him, and he's not an EVP anymore. Now he is the complete underdog, and the only thing he can do is to rebuild himself from the bottom to get back to the top. I like it. Yeah, I mean, that's just off the dome.
I like it too.
But it's also like a redemption arc for Cody, because at some point you're going to have to do something like that. Can you?
Oh yeah, it is. There's also the thoughts of like, who is it then, if they're like, say there's no stable involved, who is it that they each go after, and do they interact immediately, or do you wait for that?
I guess it depends on if they are coming in together, or if they're like, it's two like separate ships passing in the night.
Well, yeah, and so what do you think about this? So if they're coming in together and they're doing it so closely together, does that mean that it is going to be some sort of stable, right? Because they're coming in together and so close together. Or does it make it so that they're coming in
To do
and
battle?
one of them shows up, and then the other one shows up as a challenge.
That's kind of what I was getting to, because I think that you can make either work. The problem with it as a whole is that they are both going to be faces when they debut. There is absolutely no fucking way in hell that either one of them aren't getting the biggest pops that probably AEW have had to this point when either one of them shows up. So who do you position? Do you just go face versus face? And how would you even position that feud? I'm not entirely sure, to be honest.
I mean, do you think Punk comes back, even though people will still love him as a face, comes back talking shit to like the fans and about wrestling and blah blah, and then like Daniel Bryan could show up as, you know, just play like they're obviously both going to be faces and fan favorites, right? But like just character wise, right?
Absolutely.
Punk could show up and be like, I did this for this paycheck. I did, like, you know what? I don't need to be here. I don't want to be here. I like, you know, I did this for fucking this sum of money or something. You know what I'm saying? Like, he can play that like talk, even though people are still gonna love it, right? It's like the Bizarro fucking pipe bomb, you know, where he's talking shit about the reasons why he came back, which is not really why he came back, right? And selling it that way, where Daniel Bryan then comes out as this, like, I am a fucking wrestler and I fucking love wrestling and I'm here to fucking, like, and
Is it a competition of best in the world, greatest of all time? You know, we've got like
it is. Yes, it's that, and then you bring Kenny into the mix.
Exactly. Yes.
Yeah.
So there's something there that they can do, and I think that I'm gonna actually suggest it, though, probably the other way. I think somewhat, for some reason, I think that if eventually one of them does turn, it's Daniel Bryan more than it is CM Punk. I think you keep CM Punk face for longer than you do Daniel Bryan.
I think CM Punk is going to be a natural babyface no matter what.
They both are. They both are.
No, they absolutely are, but it will be easier for Bryan to go American Dragon heel mode. And have like that sort of you see what my life
is he having a match with himself back there?
He's having a match with his Kong bones right now. Oh god, here we go.
Yeah.
It's puppy time, everybody. Welcome to Puppy Time on ONO Wrestling.
Welcome to the Puppy Bowl.
Yeah. It's so funny.
You big doofus. So yeah, I think
just let him do it. Just let him do it.
No, I am.
Let him just tire himself out. He'll get there. We can push through.
I'm really trying to get him not to destroy these bags of Goodwill donations that are right here.
Oh.
He just likes to chew on absolutely everything.
Well, you're gonna have to beat him then. That's what I've heard is best for dogs. You have to beat them relentlessly.
That's what the rope's for.
Yeah. Yeah. That's Bianca Belair's braid.
Especially pit bulls, they respond really well to that.
To violence? Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
That's exactly
They
what.
love it.
Can you not try and chew on that?
Well, okay.
Anyway,
where were we?
So I was saying that I feel that it will be easier for
Punk to maintain being a babyface and easier for Bryan to turn into that prick heel.
Yeah, I agree. That's what I was saying as well. We were in agreement there for sure. And then so okay, say they don't interact at all, and they are like, and you were to let's go around the room. Pick 3 opponents for each. And then we'll leave this conversation because we can go for days about it. Let's be real. And people have already said most of this. So, all right. So we'll start with Punk. And I think I don't know. Ooh. Punk can do something cool, and this is kind of off the beaten path. But I think Punk can do something cool with Miro and maybe be the eventual one to take that TNT championship off him. I like that because he is such a public figure at this point and kind of like this mythos of wrestling that him as the TNT champion sort of works for me for a while.
I could definitely see that. And you want to talk about elevating the title. Whoa.
Elevating the title whilst also, like, if Miro's going to lose to anyone, right? Like, it needs to be – it also – Miro can probably look good in defeat with this is what I'm trying to say. You know, like he can – it's not going to be the worst loss of his career.
No, 100%.
Who you got your first one for Punk? Either one. Go for it.
I mean, I'm gonna not. I want to say Cody just because I think that makes sense. Just
it does.
Both of the egos and such. But I will say that I think him and Malachi Black could have a great match.
I was just thinking that.
Okay, I like that. I was
just thinking that.
I mean, there's.
What about Orange? Can you just imagine?
That was my next one. That was my next one. So you fucking got it. I could see
also,
it.
speaking about Orange, the interaction with Sting last week.
That was hilarious.
And
brilliant.
Sting's just
brilliant.
Lazy chest beating.
Yeah. Because you said that, and now it makes me think comedy match a little bit with Orange. I mean, there's one that needs to happen that could main event if done right.
Oh my God, Colt
Cabana. And
Cabana, CM Punk exploding barbed wire death match.
And I don't know if you saw this. I don't know if you guys saw this. This might have been intentional, just to get us talking. I'm sure it was because it was BTE. But on BTE, the Dark Order are now back on there. And
because they're blackmailing Brandon Cutler.
That's right. And if you remember before, they had a whole thing like where they lost John Silver. Remember, like someone left the door open and he got out and he started wandering around like a few months ago. So what someone asked, "Oh, where's Colt?" Colt wasn't there at any point during any of this, any of the Dark Order stuff. And they made a comment. "Oh, so we left the door open just like with Silver." And he's wandering around out there. I wonder if that is. I mean, that's gotta play into it a little bit, right? Like that, Colt. Maybe they're preparing to move Colt in a different direction outside of the Dark Order in preparation to maybe do something a little bit more. I don't even want to say serious. Well, serious, yeah, something more serious, and maybe him and Punk have already made up, and we don't know about it. It would be the type of thing that they would do.
Yeah.
And that like Punk comes in to sort of have that feud and play it out in front of the world.
Just working us all.
And then, I mean, I don't think they were, but maybe they are now. Like,
no, but that's what I'm saying. Like, they weren't then, but they are now. They're just like, these marks will believe it that we still hate each other.
And
we're just like, yeah, we do believe that you still hate each other.
And it's a match that warrants a full gear type, like, pay-per-view, second main event stipulation match, you know, like something along those lines. Or just because it's Punk, a main event. I just don't know how many other people, like, the casuals don't get that. So that's, like, something that has to be a little further down the card. But it still will make a lot of money for those of us that will care.
Yes.
Yeah.
I would love to see Punk and Penta.
Ooh. They've probably never met, right?
I would assume not.
Yeah.
Like, that's a huge one.
That is a huge one. That is absolutely
and like, you want to talk about just like a clash of styles that would work really well together.
Hello.
Let's do you got one more, Matthew, and then we'll move.
I mean, I kind of threw Cody in there, but I'll just throw, if I can, just two more. Just
do it.
Cody, I think Cody, I think, was a given. Eddie Kingston and MJF.
Both those work really well. MJF with the character stuff and and even Eddie with some of the character stuff. But Styles would be very interesting to see there, and I think that they would have chemistry.
I think I would be more interested to see the Kingston.
I kind of agree.
In all honesty, because I think it would be hard hitting. And yet, you know what? I think it's really funny because we've all talked about this, but I fucking have not liked Punk at all. And like, it's just exciting as a wrestling fan. That's the thing. Like, I guarantee you, like, we all say never in wrestling, but this might be the thing that makes us, at least me, I won't speak for you all, like, appreciate his matches more than I ever did in the past.
I can always respect the guy's talent, both, you know, in and out of the ring, and he was always just a hell of a promo. And when I was talking to my brother about it, you know, he's like, we kind of figured it out because he stopped watching around the Yes movement, which is where I picked wrestling back up. But he was a big fan of all the Punk stuff when Punk was doing the pipe bomb and like. You know, like so like our time, I wasn't watching, he was, so for him it's a much bigger deal, and he legitimately said, because he hasn't given AEW much of a shot, he's still a big wrestling fan, but he's like, if Punk came back, it would not only get me back more into wrestling, it would really make me think about, like, honestly switching companies and like definitely giving AEW the real shot it deserves. So when someone says that, though, like, as somebody, like, it's that.
I mean, that he carries such a fucking. He carries such
wild,
a weight,
dude. Like,
he carries such a weight that literally someone like your brother saying that can say, I haven't given them that opportunity, but he carries so much, like, his credentials and like how much impact. Like, he will put my eyes on this, and that's why these moves are smart by AEW.
They are.
In Punk, in Daniel Bryan, like, that's why these things are smart. And that's doing, because that will turn heads, whether it's Sting or anyone from all these generations moving through, Jake the Snake, Arn Anderson, you know what I'm saying? Like, you're hitting on so many fucking levels, right?
And we'll eventually probably, I mean, one would have to assume we would eventually get a Punk Kenny match, you know, like that's.
I mean, we have to.
We have to.
I mean, I didn't want to go with like.
Well, because that's really, if it's not Hangman that takes the belt off Kenny Omega, Daniel Bryan would be the one. I think Daniel Bryan would be the perfect guy right now to, you know, come in and take it off Kenny, and maybe Hangman and the Hangman story isn't over just yet. Like, I don't think All Out is Hangman beats Kenny. I think it's going to be a little more.
I don't think it is either. I think we're going to end up doing like a 2 of 3 or something.
There's going to be something more nuanced in there. There's going to be somebody getting it before Hangman can. And it will be maybe even a Daniel Bryan, and then you can move from there. Like, we can, Hangman will get there. But it's just, you know, keep it going. And I don't mind it. You know, I feel a little bad for him, but in the same token, then that we threw those out, I think we both have to say that, you know, Kenny for Daniel Bryan is like one of the most perfect opponents if you're calling out Daniel Bryan opponents. I go with Jungle Boy as another.
That would be a really good one. I can see that.
Especially because, you know, what he was doing in his, like, last months of prominence within the WWE. He was doing all that stuff with Chad Gable and Drew Gulak, guys that he wanted, like, to give a spotlight to, and, like, he knew they could work. I feel like Jungle Boy would be another one of those that he would take under his wing. But there's probably others in that same realm that guys that we don't know as well, you know, from like Dark and shit like that he'll find, and he'll be like, yeah, I want to work with you, or want to, you know.
I could see that. I mean, I feel like some of the ones that we've already talked about could be there, and so I want to pick outside of that.
Mm-hmm.
Right? So, you know, I mean, we talked about on the last podcast about possibly the Bucks doing some solo matches. right?
Yeah.
I would love to see either of the Bucks and Daniel Bryan. Right?
Nick and Daniel Bryan would work real well, I think. Nick more than Matt.
I think that would work really, really well. You know, all right. So, so Duncan threw out Penta, right? For CM Punk. So I'm gonna throw out Phoenix.
Absolutely, Bryan and Phoenix.
I could totally see that.
That works.
That would be awesome.
That works 100%. That works 100%. I also like Daniel Bryan sometimes as more of just that giant killer, like, because remember how he got so close to beating Brock and that type of thing, right? So I can even see him against kind of like a Brian Cage.
Brian Cage, yeah.
Or what if?
What Lance Archer?
That works, especially with the New Japan connection right now with Lance Archer. And Daniel Bryan's, already said he wants to work with New Japan's and go to Japan and do stuff.
I mean, and if you do that, you got to do a Zack Sabre Jr. and you got to do a Kota Ibushi.
I came up with one more for Punk that I think is just mad money, and I think just works on paper. I think you can build this. I think Punk has to be heel for it. But dude, heel Punk versus face Mox.
I'm all in.
That's it. Oh, and Daniel Bryan versus Adam Page. I still think that works too, even though they're both face. I think you can make.
I definitely think that works.
Yeah. Well, I guess we've lost Duncan. He's dealing with the puppy. He probably had to take her out or take him out for a walk, but that's fine. That's fine. That's nice. It's nice that somebody else is here to. Glad you're able to join.
You'd be talking just to yourself and the people listening.
Yeah. So we
literally am having to remove everything from the floor in this room.
No.
So I'm here, but I'm not here.
You do your thing, bro.
Duncan is omniscient right now. He's all knowing, all seeing.
That's right. No, I'm just trying to. I mean, we got some serious puppy energy going on right here, and he was literally trying to eat absolutely everything. And my wife has had bags of fucking clothes in here for 6 months that she's like, I'm going to take these to Plato's and I'm going to sell them. And he was trying to
take them to the Goodwill.
Yeah. So I'm just like, so now they're all in her closet. So when she gets home, she gets to deal with that.
Yeah, Teresa rolled around with 2 of those bags in her trunk for forever, and then I'd always forget, and I'd be driving her car, and then go to put something that you need to use the trunk, and then yeah, awesome.
I've done that shit where I'm like, I'm gonna take this box of shit, and then I'm like, month later, 2 months later, I'm like, I'm never gonna take this box of shit.
We've all done.
Go to one. I just wait till I see one of those dumpsters that says like clothes, and I'm just like, all right, shove it all in.
Yeah.
It would have just been easier for me to go 3 blocks down to the Goodwill.
Well, here's also the thing is that before we get back into wrestling, like she's got something in there that Lil Yokers peed on years ago, and I think it still smells like it because he was going ape shit, and I'm like, okay, look, you pee in like gallons, Kyoki peed in a cup, like that. Right. There's a big difference here.
But smells another dog. That's obviously part of the issue. So
he's got his rope. He's chilling now.
So we kind of alluded to it a little bit earlier, but part of what I'm really excited for is next week, and hopefully you can join us, Matthew. We're crossing our fingers.
Birthday show.
It's Matthew's
birthday. The flight is booked. The tickets are bought. I mean, the only thing that's standing in my way is my fucking overlords.
Right.
So,
exactly.
The Dementors, and if you know anything about them,
they suck out the joy.
The commissioner of ONW is making you do more dates, so you can't go to another indie show. He wants you to do all these meet and greets and.
If you guys want me to bring the championship to Orlando and then Jacksonville, I haven't been down to that part of the country on my run as a champion.
We could schedule a couple of meet and greets on the way.
Yeah.
Pay for a little beer money.
Exactly.
We'll see.
But that
we'll
is something
see.
that could happen. We all do have tickets.
We all do.
I think what you're alluding to there. We have 3 seats for the day after my birthday in Jacksonville, the homecoming show.
And just because they're calling it something different, I know AEW likes to do this. They like to have their beach bashes and their, like little themed shows and stuff.
This one's homecoming, isn't it?
But this is homecoming, so I feel, and they always do something at these.
I'm wearing a shitty tux.
There you go.
Yeah, I was gonna say it's gonna be like it's gonna be
wearing
like
a shitty tux, and I'm not gonna get laid.
Don't do it. It's gonna be hot. Don't just remember how hot it is here right now, man. But we do know that when we go to the show, we've already got the announcement that Malachi Black and Cody, which I can only assume is the main event, really, right? Like,
we said a couple of weeks ago, like I think 2 weeks ago, like that match is going to be amazing when they have it, and then it's happening much more quickly than I think we all thought.
I definitely thought they would have waited till All Out for this one. It just felt kind of natural for it. So
yeah, I thought it would have been a pay-per-view match for sure, but
I think this is Cody needing to get off TV a little bit as well. This has got something to do with that.
He's been on TV a little too long, so I think it's absolutely.
He just re-signed to do that Go Big Show again. So he's doing another season of that. Just have the kid.
Yep.
Have they? Yeah, they had the kid.
Yep. Yeah,
so there's a lot of reasons where
they named her Liberty because what could be more American?
Liberty.
Yep.
Liberty.
Well, we obviously know she's showing up at Homecoming.
All right.
Yeah.
All right.
And they're gonna hold her up like fucking
as
Rafiki holding up
Homelander.
Cinda.
Yeah.
Has he changed his last name officially to Rhodes yet? Because he will, right?
Cody?
Yeah. Like in real life is what I'm saying. Like, because he's Runnels, right? He's Runnels.
Yeah, but I mean, so was Dusty.
Yeah. So
I
I just can see Cody changing his like legal last name to it. Whatever.
Pulling a Ryback.
Oh yeah. Right. I don't know what else. I mean, fuck, we could get CM Punk or Daniel Bryan at Homecoming. No, we won't. But
we won't. But
I'm trying to think of like I guess it's a little too soon to tell what we'll get on there. We'll probably get another what do they call them? The things at Jericho.
It's not the
labors.
The labors.
Labors of Jericho.
But I mean, isn't he gonna get fucked up by Nick like this week?
What if
he
Cardona
might die?
shows up?
We haven't talked about that yet. If you don't know,
haven't.
if you
I
don't know anything about
that is one that I think. All right, so here's the thing: or is it? It's a labor, right?
Yes, labor of Jericho.
Because there were the 12 labors of Hercules.
So you're doing these labors, and actually, all right. So I was in downtown Cincinnati last night, and I didn't send you guys. I took this picture actually of, and you can't see it, but Duncan, you will like this. I was at a Chipotle, which fuck this Chipotle, by the way. I want to give it a fucking 0-star Yelp review. So I would give it 1 star and say if I could give it 0 stars, I would. But this fucking kid at this next to this venue, which I wasn't even going to because it wasn't open, but I fucking go into this Chipotle and I was like, all right, I'm like fucking traveling all day. I didn't eat lunch. I haven't eaten dinner. Like I went for a jog. I'm fucking hungry. I'm gonna get a burrito and a quesadilla. I'm gonna eat both of them. Fuck it.
Yeah.
I asked for the quesadilla. The kid goes, yeah, you can only order those online. And I go, well, it's on your fucking menu right there. He goes, yeah, you can only order them online. And I was like, well, I'm ordering it right here. And he goes, well, it's going to take a while to make. And I was like, not that long. And I was like, and he's like, it's going to take a while. Then he told me to sit down. And I had to sit down while he claimed to go in the back to make it. And then like the girl came up and she's like, is this your fucking like burrito wrap? Like, are you getting a burrito too? What the fuck's going on? I didn't eat the quesadilla because I think the kid did something to it. So fuck him.
Yeah, he just didn't want to. He just didn't want to do it.
Yeah, but I took this picture because it said Fozzie, and
then at the bottom,
Guar.
Yeah. Fozzie and Gua.
So I took that. I meant to send it to you guys.
That's
and now
awesome.
You got to see it. But so with Jericho, and that's what I was getting to is like with like Nick Gage, like you do these labors, and I know it seems like this thing that he's got to get through now, but like, are you going to waste that type of thing with like Nick Gage, or do you think there's going to be some sort of fuckery in order to like get Jericho, like the inner circle or somebody does something so that he's able to get
it's a no holds
past
barred
it?
match, so
There will be, what, 5 labors?
yeah, he's already been. This is the
This is
second
the second
right?
labor.
But then it's got to put him out, because like I'm looking at this tour date, right? And that's what I was thinking when I was doing this. I'm like, all right, September 2nd.
So you think Nick Gage possibly gets a win over Jericho, taking him out?
I'm not saying he does, but I'm saying Jericho has to win by fuckery in order for Gage to lose that title, then to show up at AEW.
There's another weird stipulation
and then to
too.
lose to fucking Jericho.
I think the
does
way that
not
they
does not bode well for his credentials.
Okay, I've heard this theory online, because I think the way the credential was laid out by MJF is that if any member of the inner circle got involved in the match, then Chris Jericho would be disqualified. Can't have them as protection is the whole idea, right? Well,
Cardona shows
what if
up.
Cardona shows up?
Yeah, 100%.
And even if it's not inner circle, but just doesn't maybe get involved in the match, but causes just a distraction to Gage, that they could then use, for Jericho to win. I kind of see it working that way. I think they have to do something just to get Jericho to the next labor, and that's kind of how this is going to go, right? I think they're all Jericho by the very seat of his pants getting through at the very last minute by just by luck up until the end. We can speculate on what those can be, but if it's not Lance Storm, I don't want anything to do with it.
Oh man, that'd be awesome, wouldn't it?
Someone proposed that this could be a way of doing the 5 labors of Jericho with different versions of the Jericho character with every.
So you get the Painmaker.
Right? We've already had Le Champion, current Jericho, Painmaker. You've got List Jericho. You've got you can do Y2J. I mean, that's a Jericho.
I agree, but how does WWE own trademarks?
You
or
can
copyrights
I
on?
think you can insinuate it enough to make it work, and I think that realistically that just depends on the opponent. So if the
It would
right
be kinda
opponent
funny,
is there,
it would be funny instead of you just made the list, like you just made the script, or
I mean,
like
it just
something
you could
you play into it like that, right? Because people would go fucking wild for it.
You just made my notes. Like,
Yeah.
call it what it
and
is.
he pulls out his phone and he's like typing into it or something.
Yeah, he's thumbing his phone. You just made my notes.
Yeah.
I'm sure he can probably do better. It's Chris Jericho. But, yeah, you could do something like that. I don't know if it's going to be that cheesy. I'm kind of appreciating already that it's not as just predictable as Jericho has to beat all the members of the Pinnacle. Now, I think that leaves the Pinnacle a bit in the lurch right now. Like, what the hell is going on?
Is the Pinnacle doing?
What are you doing? So I think that's a little bit tough. But realistically, I am kind of looking forward to the whole of the 5 labors because it is Jericho, and I do think there's a little surprise or a little gimmick or a little thing with all of them.
Something up his sleeve.
And I just can't see him, like, I get what you're saying with tour dates, but that's probably already been worked out with Tony Khan, right? Like, he's maybe off week, maybe he wins, but he's so damaged.
We talked about him needing to go away, like we've talked about other wrestlers, and we thought that maybe that bump off the cell, then he had the arm brace, and then now he's gotten back into it. Like,
but he can probably schedule his tour around it. And...
I mean, you would think, but like, so you look at that tour date, right? That's September 2nd in Columbus, Ohio. That night is also a Dynamite night. And then September 5th is All Out. So So that's that Saturday night.
Well, the 5
So-
labors would be done by then, so there's that.
It would be, but when does he face MJF for MJF to fucking shut him down? Because MJF has to win this one.
When's All Out?
September 5th. And he's in Columbus on September 2nd, which is
Ah,
the
he'll
same
make
night
that-
as the Go Home Dynamite for All Out.
So he might not be at the Go Home Dynamite, but they might have set something up already or a pre-tape for that to set up the match at All Out.
Yeah.
Or they could do it at Arthur Ashe later down the road.
Well, and you start having those rampages now.
Yeah, you've got those. So I mean, yeah, maybe he's not on the Go Home Dynamite, but
I
he's
don't
on
think,
the Go
I
Home
don't
Rampage.
Think they take it all, I don't think they take it all the way to Arthur Ashe. I think this ends at All Out.
And yeah, you're right. MJF absolutely needs to win it. Like, there's not.
And I don't think you can drag it to the 22nd of
No.
September.
And then you probably need to send Jericho on his way for a while. Like, we've been talking about that, and he's done great. Let's not take anything away from him. It's just a bit tired for a minute now. We need him to breathe, and he needs to come back with a slightly different Jericho and a slightly just.
And he's very good at that, and he'll do it
He's the
again.
best.
Like,
He's the
give him
best
the
at
time and let him do the music thing. And I'm not hating on it. I just think that is I just think that he also wants to do that.
Yeah.
And so I think it will allow for that. And when you start bringing in names like Daniel Bryan and CM Punk and things like that, it allows
And even
him
Nick
to,
Gage, which was a
it
huge
allows him
deal.
to step aside.
So did you get to watch or see much or just clips maybe of the Gage Cardona match?
So I watched clips and then read a ton of articles and watched a bunch of clips.
Yeah.
And I saw even those after photos of Cardona, man.
It's
and like,
scary.
Just like his bed. Like, did you see that?
Yep.
Like
The
sheets
soaking
and-
through sheets. I guess Chelsea Green had to go down to the lobby and basically like, yo, there hasn't been a murder. My husband's a wrestler. He was in a death match. We're sorry.
So
Like-
he was in a death match. You know what that is.
Yeah. Here, I'll show you on my phone real quick. But
Yeah.
had to explain the whole thing because she was scared that like they would think there was a crime that was committed. And
I really hope they change that mattress.
I really hope that fucking Zack Ryder goddamn used his woo money to buy a new mattress for that hotel.
Yeah, I fucking hope so. I'm sleeping in a hotel tonight, and I hope weird things didn't happen.
Every hotel has come on it, dude. Like somewhere in the room, there's come on something. So
hey, every time I lay down or sit down, I'm like, you know what? I just think of the thousands of people who have been here before me.
Yep, that's
and it creeps me out.
Yeah, well, I get that way sometimes with hotels. You just got to put it out of your mind and move on. But yeah, an incredibly violent match with Gage and Cardona. And there's been a lot of controversy about it because, of course, no one expected Cardona to win this
Dude,
match.
those fans went fucking nuts. They rioted.
They did, but he knew what he was getting into. I'll stand by this. He knew what he was getting into, and I do definitely believe that this was a place like there was not a single glass beer bottle. It was
all like
it was
water
all
bottle.
plastic cups and bottles and water bottles. Nothing that it might hurt a little bit, but I don't think there was anything that was thrown that was necessarily going to hurt the wrestler.
Don't give out glass bottles though in arenas.
No, they don't. That's what I'm saying. It was all plastic bottles.
Yeah.
And this was not in an arena. This was in a fucking bingo hall for all we could care about.
Yeah.
Like this was plastic throwing at him. It was mostly keg beer cups, that splash before they even get to the ring. So like it was an amazing visual. I think they all knew what was going to happen. It was provoked from the minute one, and I can't see that. I'm not even mad at the fans. I think that this is what the company of GCW wanted to happen in this moment.
100%. And I think in that deathmatch scenario, I couldn't agree more.
And I think that
you build it up, and you want those fans to be fucking animals.
I'll say this too. If you're that deep into wrestling that you're going to that type of show, you know that as well. you're probably like us. You're smarks. You know every beat of the story. You know who and yeah, this is a very aggro, violent, ECW-esque environment that it's not my favorite thing in wrestling. I don't think I'd be super stoked about being there for this match. But if they weren't being like violent.
They could have thrown their seats in,
exactly.
like it's happened before. Like it could have gone a lot further than just flinging water bottles.
They knew they were being goaded into this and were almost part of the show. And they played their role in the show, and obviously some people maybe did, some people didn't, but the real ones did. And I have some good faith sometimes in people, not often. But in this particular case, I don't think there was anything malicious about what those fans were doing. They were playing a role in the story.
In the storytelling, yeah, which is what wrestling is. I 100% agree with you. I couldn't agree with that more.
And I think
but it adds to the impact when you see the headline. 100%. Imagine not being a wrestling fan of that. So imagine being not knowing that was happening, right? And then being a fan of wrestling and then seeing him show up in AEW and then going and looking at typing his name in if you didn't know, if you hadn't watched behind or Dark Side of the Ring, if you didn't know anything about him prior to that, and he shows up on AEW in this huge angle, and then you type it into Google, DuckDuckGo, whatever the fuck you use, and then you see that, right? Imagine that, like you're saying, like that is the fans selling it as much as the wrestlers are selling it.
I think so. It sounds like Duncan is having like a real hard time with old Jack, his new dog. So I don't know if we're going to be getting him back for the show. So my apologies with that. Fuck you, Duncan. Come on, get it together. Get your dog and get your dog trained. Get your dog trained. Yeah, put him in the crate. What the fuck?
I saw the crate.
Yeah, put him in the crate.
Yep. It's not bad.
Just switching gears, and I don't want to be too late, honestly, tonight because I have work tomorrow. I know you have work tomorrow.
I gotta drive to Toledo at 6 a.m.
Later start as it is.
I gotta take this Ono Wrestling Championship up to Toledo. I got a diner I gotta be at. I gotta kiss some babies and fucking meet some people, take some pictures.
Did you get to catch up and see any of the like Raw's really turned it around, haven't they? It feels like a completely different show.
I actually watched 2 hours of Raw last night.
Wow, good for you.
Yeah, and you know what? At the very end, all right, can we talk about this Charlotte Nikki ASH thing for a second? Like, one, I want to say that there was such a big part of me last night, and they were dragging it out at the very end, especially after the match. After the match was over and Charlotte was on the mic, and then Nick.
It was like a 25-minute segment to even open the show with it.
Yeah, but the very end after the match, right? Charlotte pins her. Then she's like, "You're not worth all this stuff." Nikki ASH, not great on the mic.
No.
Not helping that at all. Also, if you were almost a superhero and you won the title, shouldn't you now be a superhero? I maybe in some semblance of the thing, like sell it a little bit more. I don't know. Just a thought. But my main thought when all that was happening was, I'm about to hear fucking Becky's music. I'm about to hear fucking Becky's music. I'm about to hear fucking... And I just kept thinking that, and it didn't fucking happen, and I was so let down. And I don't know why I thought that was the moment they were going to do it.
No, but it felt it. I think that they were goading for that. I think that they were definitely leading you in that direction. They were leading you in that direction, without a shadow of a doubt, from the stuff I've seen. And I have no interest in seeing another Charlotte, Rhea,
Ripley.
and now
and
Nikki
Nikki.
3-way at SummerSlam.
Nope.
It's not not gonna happen.
Nope. I don't want to see that either.
And then we had, of course, Keith Lee back on Raw. This is an interesting story. Of course, he appeared the previous week getting beat by Bobby Lashley in a quick match. I wouldn't call it 100% squash, but quick. Then this week, facing an old foe from NXT, that of Karrion Kross, which the story there is also interesting. This whole weird web they've tangled themselves in is bizarre. They've decidedly ruined both of them.
Yep.
I don't even know if they tried to do it or if they're just this incompetent. We were stripped, of course, of Keith Lee's oh great, Keith Lee's back, Ultimate Return, open challenge with Bobby Lashley. Of course he loses. That's disappointing. Only for it to build into a Goldberg match, one would assume. Then you have Karrion Kross the week before lose to Jeff Hardy. What's weird about this one is from all reports, it was apparently going to be Jeff Hardy and Karrion Kross again, in which Jeff Hardy would win again. Yet Jeff Hardy caught the old, COVID and couldn't be on TV. So they didn't do that, and instead they still had Karrion Kross come out in a very, with no fanfare, or none of his entrance, none of the cool shit. Still holding the NXT title, by the way. And then they had Karrion Kross beat Keith Lee. What does this do for either of them?
It does absolutely nothing. It's fucking stupid.
If you were going to do it, and say you wanted one goal, maybe, okay, we got to accept that we fucked both these guys up. Maybe we can save one of them, right? This is where you have a Keith Lee come back to challenge Sheamus again. I know they're building to a program with Sheamus and Damian Priest.
Who was Sheamus wrestling last night?
Damian Priest.
Oh, yeah. And then at the end, god damn it. That was the
Priest
worst
is
sell
beating him.
ever. My nose.
Yeah, and Priest is beating him, so now he's going to get a match, and Priest will be a U.S. champion. Okay, that's fine. That's the way you go. But why can't you just slot... I mean, if you're obsessed with 3-ways, WWE, slot Keith Lee into that match, have Sheamus get the pin, or Sheamus lose. Sheamus can still lose. Damian Priest can get the pin, but Keith Lee doesn't have to take one.
That's true.
That's okay. So if you still want to go in that direction, okay, fine.
Then I would also like to see Sheamus and Keith Lee for some weird reason.
They've already done it.
I'd like to see it again, though.
No, I think that was what we were gonna eventually see with the U.S. title picture and everything. That was the way it was shaping up. But now we've got now how do we fix Karrion Kross? Well, Karrion Kross at this point has basically made NXT look like a joke by booking, not him in of itself. I'm not the biggest fan of Karrion Kross, but this shit ain't his fault. And with him, okay, we need to have a squash match. We need to have him come out and beat one of your 24/7 championship jobbers. Give me Takazawa or whatever. I don't know. Not Takazawa. What's his name? Tozawa.
We hung out with him in the chamber.
That's right. I forgot about that. But give me, even if it was a Drew Gulak, at least it gets Gulak on TV more than just running and chasing around the 24/7 championship. At least now you've got somebody that Karrion Kross has beaten on the main roster and doesn't look like a dweeb. Yeah, he beat Keith Lee, but at whose expense? If you want to go with the Karrion Kross, I think the Karrion Kross Braun Strowman treatment, squash match treatment, is the way they should have started from the beginning with it. Have him
do that Monster Among Men, the whole fucking I'm there, I'll lift up ambulances, I'll fucking throw you into dumpsters, I'll do whatever the fuck it takes.
But I'm also a little more evil and
Yeah,
spooky.
so maybe don't do those gimmicks, but like.
But you can figure it out.
Yeah, you can figure it out. Yeah, I agree with 100% of what.
Speaking of the 20,
I wish I had a different point, but can I bring one thing in really quickly?
Without a doubt.
The 24/7 title. The match with Reggie.
That was what I was gonna come up with. Bring up next.
In R-Truth. So one, I thought it was very weird that R-Truth had the microphone on the whole time during that match.
Okay, I listened to some, like I was very, I was confused by it because like why, right? Like now we know R-Truth can get over with audiences. I listened to another podcast earlier, and they were contemplating the same point, and one of them did make an excellent observation. It's because that WWE doesn't have the trust in its audiences to understand the simplest of comedy without it being narrated for them. We're talking slapstick comedy. Hey, look, that guy's gonna go hit that guy. He does something crazy to move out of the way. Simple slapstick. Hits his noggin on something, simple
like
stuff.
Reggie has the fucking his jacket on his face, and he's
They don't have the trust in the live crowd to play along, so they're trying to get R-Truth to get give them the reaction, right? Like
R-Truth is the type of dude who can do that if that's what you're going for. So I agree.
It didn't work.
It's fucking weird.
It did not work. Now, Reggie actually looked fantastic because the stuff that he can do is amazing.
I know, minus like 2 or 3 things, and I'm like, and then I said that to myself, and I was like, minus 2 or 3 things, and I was like, Matthew, you can't do one fucking backflip. I was like, let alone 20 in a row.
Yeah.
And also, I will say, how cool did his flip into the ring?
Oh,
look?
that dude, that was
that camera angle and the cut was fucking awesome.
Essentially, like they've done this before with other wrestlers. Sin Cara was one with the trampoline. They've done it with the Lucha House Party, I think, before. They've done it with like quite a few.
But it looked fucking great.
His put all those to absolute shame.
And yes, and I will also say, like, the 2 or 3 times that he like didn't stick the landing, and I will never talk shit about it because he did like 900 fucking flips. But he made it look so good because he'd just like roll back and then stand up.
Well, that's the thing. The way he did it, like that first time he did it off, like because he did the flip in, but then the first move of the match where. Like, or before the match, he did another flip off the top rope.
He did another flip and then like
almost hit back. Truth and but it looked like a mistake. I'm not sure it was or wasn't. I think he has that much control that he can make some stuff look a little bit more like maybe I don't know.
I've seen him in Cirque. Like, dude.
I think that might be him working the story, and it's also then working kind of like giving him the.
I'd love that.
Like, that one time he, you got to take advantage of that one time where he takes that slight misstep.
And that's actually a perfect thing. So he like fakes the missteps if someone thinks they're going into a move, and then he reverses
then he can reverse it on it. Like
so that's part of his fucking moveset is like the fake into
I mean, I don't know if that is the case, but I want it to be the case.
I want it to be the case too. But I will say he fucking looked good. The finisher, his finisher looked fucking great. I will say he nailed it.
It's the flip teabag, bro.
The flip teabag, yeah. I'm gonna put my nuts in your mouth.
But it does look like a pretty convincing finisher. It really does.
And he hit it pretty well last night. I will say that.
He did.
But again, going back to the R-Truth thing, the mic thing didn't work.
No, and they can have him and Truth do a program together for a while. Like that's fine.
Definitely do that, but I don't think you need that.
No, and I think you need week on with a match. Like I did at least enjoy.
I don't think you need a match every week, especially because it's a 24/7 title.
It needs to be backstage stuff, but it needs to go back to.
You can't always have a sanctioned match because they haven't always done a sanctioned match.
I don't mind it every once in a while, though. I don't mind
Me
it
neither.
every
Me
once
neither.
in a
I'm not
while.
against it.
I think that actually adds to it. I think that
It makes it more legitimate for sure.
it does. It kind of defeats the purpose of the 24/7 champion, but I
think with like Tozawa and crew running in afterwards, you're kind of still keeping that. Like
it's like that's
still,
the
like,
only
no
time.
matter if the match is over, there's still the chance that like someone could run in. You know.
Right. It's just I think part of their problem with it is it's never been explained. Like maybe if they were just to say to us that during the actual sanctioned match, the rest of them can't run in, right? Like it can only one of these two can win. As soon as the match
That's
ends,
a good stipulation.
As soon as the match ends, the ring bell's off. Then it's back to regular rules. If they were to do it like that and just explain it once, it would make more sense, and I could buy into it a little bit more. Moving on a little bit here, we've got some quick Facebook questions, if you don't mind me getting to, because I can't do much more WWE at the moment. Like it's, I mean, we gotta address kind of Roman saying no to Cena, saying fuck you Cena, and then Finn Balor, making his appearance on last week's SmackDown.
Yep.
I hope they go the right route with this. We all can kind of see that Balor won't win, but maybe he does. I hope they can make me kind of believe that something happens that maybe even Cena costs Roman so that Balor can win, setting up something further down the line so that you can get the title off of Roman. You can have your match with Roman and Cena, and then you can have Finn Balor re-elevated to a different position. I think I'm being extremely optimistic with that, but I hope they're at least able to give us some of this NXT Prince Devitt Balor and not the Balor we had prior on the main roster.
Yeah, and so I would say, that that's kind of. Did you watch the behind the scenes in it was like a 3-minute thing WWE put out
a .com thing. A .com thing.
Yeah, like a .com thing.
No, I don't think I saw that.
But I mean, he was pretty stoked, and he's like, I don't know, it was kind of cool to see it for 3 minutes. But I think the fact that they brought him out and you saw that Prince logo,
that's a good sign. It's a good sign.
That was a good sign. But we also just talked about Karrion Kross. We also just talked about Keith Lee, and we talked and even though he was the first Universal Champion, even though there those types of things,
he got kind of screwed out of it, never had the real run he deserved.
But regardless of that, there's no chance he's taking it away from Roman. And how do you keep him strong?
I want them to at least make me feel like there's a possibility of him taking it from Roman. And I think that this is going to sound weird, but I think the way that you do that, and this partly goes to NXT. This is the way I would do it. I would book a new faction based around Finn Balor that would be basically the splintered, undisputed era with Balor against the family. I think that if Balor were to start maybe collecting allies, it's weird. I was literally going to say some names that would be perfect for this that aren't on their roster anymore, that weren't doing much. But I think that you can find some guys that would work in this situation. Fuck, if you wanted to reboot the Undisputed Era with Balor as the leader as almost a new club, you could. Or you could have AJ turn face and let's fucking go for their version of a club again. And maybe Omos is in it. You can have Omos in it.
You think? Do you think Omos is in it?
Why the fuck not? You need a heavy. You need a big guy.
You do need a big guy.
He doesn't have any of the
He
clout,
doesn't have
of
the
course.
charisma, man. He doesn't have the
No,
charisma.
almost has some charisma. Trust me on this one. I've seen it. I know.
He's got
I know
a sprinkle.
charisma.
He's got a sprinkle. He ain't got the. You know.
He'll have the touch. But no, you could do something along those lines, and I think we're gonna see. If you were to God damn it.
What?
Hang on.
You got a dog there too?
Yo, bro, can you give me like 15 minutes? Bye. Jesus Christ. He's been calling me. I even texted him, like, I'm doing a show. It's a friend of mine. It's a coworker that needs to talk about a hard day. I'm like, motherfucker. Like, you just, yeah, I'm doing a show. I'll call you when I'm done. There's some Facebook questions. That's what I was going to fucking do, right? Let's do some Facebook questions.
I think so.
They're not super big. We already talked about one thing. Interesting. Okay, so Keith Lee back after 5-6 months, only to be demolished by Lashley, leading up to his Goldberg match. Note, Keith Lee. This is the only. We already talked about that, but this is the reason I'm reading this. Is Keith Lee also lost to Drew prior to Drew's Goldberg match, which I'd forgotten. That's interesting.
Oh, yeah.
There's also.
I had not thought about that at all.
No. Also, Zelina Vega back with the WWE lost every single match since her return. Yeah, well, that shows you.
Yeah, she's lost 3 of them.
She has. How shitty is the Ashe gimmick? Well, it's pretty shitty, but it's for kids, and it's not for you. If she could deliver it a little better, I think it would work. But it's going to. This is not going to be long for our days. This is going to end.
This is going to go away.
This is going to go away real soon because I think there's been a lot of very, very mixed reactions within the crowds on all the house shows from what I've seen. So,
yep.
There's a Queen of the Ring coming up apparently. They're doing that October 8th and 11th, which would be the SmackDown, on the 8th and then the 11th. So they're doing it, I believe, kind of in the similar way that they did the King of the Ring last year. If they're doing the Queen of the Ring, I don't think we get a King of the Ring this year, especially with
I don't think so either.
The Corbin Shinsuke stuff and the Shinsuke King Shinsuke thing. Baron Corbin is doing the best work of his career right now. He's absolutely killing it, and mark my words. This is going to change him immensely, and we're going to be, I think this is the best move that Corbin's ever made. The stuff that he's doing and the acting he's putting on is actually pretty good. So,
it is, and we've all talked shit on Baron Corbin for a long time.
Yeah, it's one of it's.
And that doesn't mean that I still like his in-ring style, but the storyline and the character he's playing is doing it very well.
It's like the second best thing on SmackDown, bro.
It is.
And then the second best thing apart from Bobby Lashley on Raw is Riddle and fucking Randy Orton becoming a tag team, which is going to happen, and they are going to feud with AJ and Omos, and that's a big thing.
That's true.
And give them a face run for a little bit before Randy turns on him, and then they just give him a couple months with the tag belts, because just why not?
That's true.
And actually, Riddle AJ, Randy Omos sort of works on paper. Sort of works. I lost you.
Oh, you got me?
Yep, you're back.
So I thought that kind of works. Actually, now that I think about it, I would be for that, because you actually then have 2 big people in each one of those going after each other.
And think about what I'm saying too. That match is more interesting to us than Charlotte Rhea, Nikki Cross. Think about things that would have possibly been fitted in, that we've lost interest in. They've just rebooked the Viking Raiders again.
Again. Yeah.
Again.
Again.
Like it's the same
Again.
show every week. And it is time that we kind of wrap up, but I've noticed already in this second week of Raw, and it was happening a bit even on SmackDown, the crowds are not as into it. I've been saying this. They're not as into it as I thought they would be.
Yeah.
This last Raw was dead. It was dead. And it's not the crowd's fault anymore. It's not.
It's not.
Because
it's the booking.
It's the booking. When you're putting on the same match week after week after week, we're not in the old territory system where we didn't have TV, where we saw the product. Like, we all watch Raw. If I'm going to a wrestling show, I'd like to catch like the previous week's wrestling show so I'm up to date and I go to, like, I don't want to see the same thing I saw and have been seeing if I'm a fan of the product week after week after week after week. Just because you're in a new town and it's a new audience does not mean you're going to get this massive reception. You've got to do something different in the fact that you've got to, change it up. Why are we doing like the same match 4 weeks? Going. That's not a program. That's a repeat of a match. There's no change. It's the same thing, and we're doing it. They're doing it over and over and over again.
Yeah.
That would be that's why fans are the way they are, and you cannot blame them. Hopefully, and I think we will, I'm pretty convinced that the AEW fan base has had a great deal to cheer for. And those fans have the ability to understand more than 3 angles on a show. And because there's like 20 going on every Dynamite. There's so much shit happening.
Yeah.
Sometimes too much at the same time. With people interacting. And that's the reason why it's interesting to go to. That's why I'm looking forward to next week, hopefully going to, to AEW Dynamite. Not tomorrow. It's going to be a fun show tomorrow. We're going to see Jericho murdered. And murdered.
Possibly a Cardona.
And then, we get to see Black and Cody later down the road at the following week. So, that being said, I don't know if there's anything else. I think we covered a lot. And I do want to wrap it up. It's been about the right amount of time. And thank you for I didn't think this would happen. I thought it would be me. Yeah. That it'd be the other way around.
I'm glad it happened this way because Duncan had to peace out and I was able to tag in.
It would have been a real short show otherwise.
Yeah.
But I think
it all works out the way it's supposed to be.
You ended up doing more time. Is there anything you wanna throw in there? Ads, last final Jerry Springer final thoughts?
Final thoughts. No, I think we covered everything. I really wanted to talk about the big thing was that Charlotte, Nikki ASH, and the way they made me feel that I wanted, I've never wanted Becky to come back more.
Yeah, that needs to happen. That should definitely be, consider that your final thought, that Becky needs to come back. Rumor is she's switching brands. Kind of like that. I think that means she'll move to SmackDown as such a big star. SmackDown is the bigger show. Think that means that you need to put the belt on Carmella. Have Carmella finally one up Belair, and then you have a Carmella Becky interact.
And possibly, do you move Sasha to Raw?
Yes, I think that's 100% what you do.
Yeah, and did you see in the group? I forgot. I don't know if it was Meeks or someone posted that the Carmella wardrobe malfunction. The fact that she was still wrestling, and then
I gained a ton of respect for her with that.
Dude,
man.
She did an amazing job. And then when you saw that Bianca she tried to pull it back for a second, and then she rolled her up.
That was classy. That was just.
It was for both of them. Well done. Well done. Very well fucking played.
They kept the match going, and I'll be honest, I think Carmella is better than she gets credit for in the ring.
I think so too. I think so too.
She's a lot better than people think. There was one little quick thing I mentioned or wanted to mention. Oh God, maybe not. What did you talk? What was your last? Your last was Becky Lynch. Oh,
Becky.
Yeah. So I had an idea. And you know, we've got this Eva Marie dewdrop catastrophe going on with Piper Niven, who is incredibly talented. Yep. There's been some interaction now between Alexa Bliss and Eva Marie, right? There was a whole Lily Doll segment on Raw. I came up with a decent idea, and I don't think it needs to happen with any sort of spookiness. I think we need to get Alexa Bliss away from that. If I'm being quite honest, get her back to closer to. She can be a great heel. She can be a bitch. She can do. You know, maybe.
But they won't.
Maybe just be a little gothy without like the creepy or whatever. But I then there's already been the infighting between Eva Marie and Piper Niven. I think it would be a wonderful pairing of Piper Niven and Alexa Bliss in a tag team together, a women's tag team, because I think you've got that big and small dynamic. I think they can probably work well together, and there's already the writing on the wall that something's going on within that little circle. And for God's sake, just get
rid of Lily.
Just get rid of Lily. Put Lily with Eva Marie and get rid of them both.
Yeah. Do one of those things where you just change the storyline and we forget about it.
Mm-hmm.
Don't
even acknowledge it and just.
I don't even. Nope. I'll give you the mulligan.
Sometimes
don't need the explanation.
Sometimes it's easier just to go like that.
Let's just wash our hands of it.
It's the Vicky Guerrero with Andrade situation. El Idolo.
El Idolo.
He needs a better finisher. Just gonna go ahead and say.
Yep, he 100% does.
That being said, I think that's a good place for us to end. We pulled off a good show, even with dogs barking.
That was a great finisher. Ours.
And you know what? It's always good to see you, Matthew. I hope I can really see you on your birthday next week.
Yes. I might be in town in the studio next week for the show.
That would be amazing if it can happen. If the tour doesn't get in the way. But that being said, check us out on twitch.tv/ONRS Live every Tuesday night around 9 o'clock for episodes of Ono Wrestling Live. You can chat along in our chat room. Don't forget to check out OnoWrestling.com. Find our Facebook. We're on there. Facebook groups. It's better if you find us on the group. There's a lot of stuff going on in the group. It's a fun community of like-minded wrestling fans. Find us on Patreon if you want to send us a couple extra bucks over at patreon.com/ONRS. And Matthew, our modern-day Maharaja and predictions champion, what do we say when we get out of here?